Hello, everybody. Today we'll be talking about Pokemon that I think could be good, like that are underestimated, depending on the person you ask. And these Pokemon are not like bad per se, but like I feel like some people would call them potential mons in a way, but I used all of these Pokemon in the past and had at least some success. And this first one should not be shocking if you know me. Charizard. Specifically base Charizard. All other forms of Charizard, both Mega Evolutions and the G-Max form, have been very good in the past, especially the G-Max form. But even the worst of the three other forms, Mega Charizard X has been pretty good in the past. Charizard, Charizard's base form is not considered really good. The main way you'd want to use Charizard is in the sun with solar power, boosting its special attack. And also, on top of that, you have your moves. Fire moves like Fire Blast or Flamethrower boosted in the sun as well. Charizard gets some pretty interesting coverage. Inject Power if you want to hit other fire types. Focus Blast for fighting coverage. Scorching Sands to hit rock types. And Charizard could also be ran physically. Typically, you normally see that in singles, not doubles. So either use Sword Stance, or for y'all double players who don't know, Charizard gets Belly Drum. So you can use Mega Charizard X with Belly Drum. I've tried that. It isn't the greatest. Mainly people know Dragon Dance Charizard because Charizard X using Dragon Dance, but it also gets Sword Stance and Belly Drum. So that's interesting to know. And if you wanted to use physical Charizard, it gets really interesting coverage. Power Up Punch if you wanted to use it, Shadow Claw, Thunder Punch. Of course, everybody knows it gets Dragon Claw because of Mega Charizard X. They gave it Blaze Kick for some reason. So if you didn't like the recoil from Flare Blitz, you can run Blaze Kick if you want, though I would recommend just running Fire Punch because it's more consistent. Or even Flame Charge if you really wanted to go for that. Oh. But yeah, it's a really interesting mon. I've seen people actually use it. It won a tournament in Scarlet Violet, which is interesting. It also gets Earthquake. You can also run it somewhat supportively. Like, you can have, like, a kind of supported Charizard. It gets Will-O-Wisp, which is really interesting. So if you wanted to burn things, I believe it also gets Helping Hand. Yeah, it does, but a lot of Pokemon get Helping Hand, so that makes sense. It mainly wants to be offensive, probably running like a Life Orb. I have tried both Choice Scarf and Choice Specs, which I would not recommend. It does not work the greatest. I would just recommend learning Life Orb, even though it does not do... Without Sun, Charizard is not doing much damage. I mean, you got 109 special attack. It's not doing much. I'd just recommend running Charizard as some sort of glass cannon. Of course, Charizard is my favorite Pokemon of all time. Not just because it looks cool, but I have a strong connection to it in a way. So yeah. My next Pokemon's really interesting. Giratina. Now, Giratina is a restricted legendary Pokemon, at least for VGC. So you can only use 1 to 2 restricted legendaries every couple of years. Like, it comes, every restricted format comes around. And the problem with Giratina is that it's not as strong as the other restricted legendaries, like Calyrex Shadow Rider. Yeah, Um, the, the format I'm currently using to show off these Pokemon is National Dex Ubers. By the way, this is this is the same format Mega Rayquaza is in. But you got Color Shadow, which is legal, Ice Rider, which is a big problem for it. Even Giratina is gonna be have a hard being hard like to beat. I mean, it beats Lunala, I think. Can it one-shot Lunala? I have seen Lunala live knockoffs from Incineroar. I don't know if it can. I think it could take a Shadow Ball from Giratina. Like, depending on the format, you also got Yveltal, which can hit it decently hard. Not in Gen 9, but Warring Moon, if it gets, I don't think Warring Moon's possible, really popular. Fluttermane is a big one. Just so many Mons that can beat Giratina. Its typing is not terrible offensively. It's actually good offensively. You hit like a ton of types for neutral damage, but you also hit like you hit Ghost and Dragon, but they can also hit you back. You hit Psychic. Uh that's yeah. You hit Dragon, Ghost, and Psychic. There's gotta be one I'm missing, right? Yeah, you hit a ton of types for neutral damage, but you have a good amount of weaknesses as well. Ghost, Dragon, Dark, Fairy, all pretty scary types. Also Ice. Yeah, that's a big one. That's why Giratina is not used, but it isn't a horrible Pokemon if you know how to use it. It can actually do damage. Um, it gets a ton of coverage. Dark Pulse, Aura Spear, Earth Power. You typically want to run it specially because offensively you got Shadow Claw and Dragon Claw. Yikes! I mean it gets Poltergeist. Yeah, Thunderbolt. Again, it also gets Wolves, just like Charles. I'm sorry, I did not realize Giratina gets Tailwind. Will that be? Why do a bunch of these restricted legendaries? Zekrom gets Tailwind too, by the way, because I actually like using Dragon and Zekrom. I hate when that happens. The calculator thing, but anyway, because Zekrom should be on this list actually. Dragon and Zekrom is really good if you know how to use it. But yeah, typically you would run Calm Mind and Calm Mind plus Gracious Orb with Dragon Pulse or like I typically use Dragon Pulse, but you can also run Draco Meteor to just have a nuke. Basically, you have a like it's gonna be hitting harder than Dragon Gem Draco Meteor from Latias, but it's more permanent. Yeah, Shadow Ball. Even Shadow Ball's hitting hard. I can hit Steel types with Earth Power. Yeah, it has. It is really strong. It's Psychic. The wobbly one shot Sneasel. I bet it can one shot Sneasel or just Shadow Ball. Yeah, if you get in the right situations, it can do good damage. I would recommend using it in Tailwind, so it can out. It outspeeds Shadow Rider and Tailwind. I do not think a Shadow Ball is one-shotting Ice Rider, though yet again a +1 Meteor Beam from Lunala one-shots Ice Rider, or almost does without if the Ice Rider has no special defense investment, I'm pretty sure Meteor Beam from Lunala will one-shot it +1 Meteor Beam, which is insane to me because Ice Rider has 130 special defense. Like, let me look at its stats. 100 HP and a 130. Yeah, that is insane. But anyway, Giratina it has good stats too. Really good HP. Like, it is actually going to be living a lot of hits. Its other form is mainly bulky, but it's like actually something to note. Giratina other form I've actually used. Like, this is its origin form. I think it's called its altered form. Look at the yeah down here, Giratina. Oh, it's just called Giratina. Okay. Um, with I don't think even without any special defense investment, I think I used Terra Steel. I terrestrialized in the steel out because I was facing a Shadow Rider. This was like over a year ago. Like this was 2024 when Reg G was first a format. It only took 25% from a Terra Ghost Shadow. I think it was Life Orb too. Astro Barrage, which was insane to me. It ate that. I had to terrestrialize for it, but yeah. Which is good to know because then it can fire off a Shadow Ball, probably one-shotting it. So if you wanted a niche Pokemon to eat, no, just use Zamazenta because you don't have to terrestrialize for it. Seriously though, yeah. Um, our next Pokemon is actually Lugia. Lugia is probably like these two Pokemon have been used before, but like these Pokemon are not gonna have that much impact if you can get them online. If you can get Lugia online, it is sweeping. Okay, Lugia doesn't have like any way to what? Okay, I am finding it. No, this is Huh? What? No, this is National Dex. I'm in the middle of a video and I just discovered. I'm not cutting this. After this video, I am screenshot. No, I'm just gonna send this. I'm going to tell Parker to go 12 minutes and 30 seconds in, and I'm gonna have to tell him, what is this? If I swear to you, hold on. If I go to Regai, right? I go to no, Lugia. It does not get Psycho Boost. What? Is it like an event move? Why not? How come I've never heard of this? Yeah, we go to National Dex. It had Psycho Boost at one point. That's interesting. Anyways, so typically I've actually seen the reason I know about this strategy is because I've actually seen it on the Showdown ladder for like Raid G before. So people are using Lugia, and it is really powerful. So Lugia, it takes advantage of Lugia's really bulky stats. So Lugia is a really interesting Pokemon. It has like it's meant to be this bulky Pokemon, but its typing gives it a lot of weaknesses, which normally would be bad because that means you're taking more damage. Like your Shadow Balls are gonna hurt, Thunderbolts, Dark Pulses, but and normally Lugia actually wants to be hit by a super effective move. And in fact, it being weak to a ton of types is actually beneficial for it. Why? Because Lugia runs a weakness policy. In 2026, I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who uses the weakness policy Lugia now. But I must say, it still holds up. Essentially, weakness policy, if you don't know, boosts the attacking stat, both attacking stats by 2 stage if it's hit by a super effective move. And Lugia will most likely live a super effective hit because it's bulky, but it has a lot of weaknesses, so it's really good for the specific strategy. And Lugia's special attack stat is actually pretty high. It's not like that very high, But it's high enough to where if you double its special attack set, it is going to hurt, especially because it has good flying stab with Arrow Blast. Not only that, it's got good coverage. It's got Earth Power. It's got Side Shock if you want to hit on the physical side. Shadow Ball. Yeah, it is the third Pokemon on this list who's had Tailwind before, because Charizard used to have it before. I think Gen 8? Does it have. I know it has it. I know it doesn't have it in Gen 9, but does it have Tailwind in Gen 8? I don't know. But it gets Thunderbolt, even Signal Beam. No clue what you want to use Signal Beam for, but hold on. Alright, we're good. Surf if you're using it in Signals, Weather Ball for certain weather strategies. Blizzard if you want to use it in Snow. Ancient Power for interesting colors. Get that off my screen. Dragon Pulse, hit Dragon types. It gets decent coverage, and it can hit really hard with Arrow Blast. I've seen Mons take a lot of damage. It's not always gonna get like one hit KOs, but yeah, it is gonna do a lot of damage. It can be a sweeper, a dangerous one as that, if you know how to use it. Our fourth Pokemon isn't a restricted legendary. Dredigan. Oh. Now, Dredigan has been used somewhat in Gen 5, but after that, it just disappeared. Um, Dredigan has decent attack, and you notice its bulk is actually pretty good. And actually, this is very similar bulk to Incineroar. It's just got a decent amount less HP, but it's gonna be like it has the same exact like. Let me pull up Incin real quick. See, 90 in each defense, and then yeah, it's just HP. And since HP is 95, or yeah, 77. It's got decent bulk. Rough Skin's a decent ability as well, but nowadays you want to go for Sheer Force. Sheer Force has turns off all secondary effects of moves. So, like for example, Fire Punch is a 10% chance to burn. Well, now it gets a damage boost instead of the chance to burn. Or Flamethrower, same thing. But I don't think its attack stat is double its special attack stat. So typically you'd run Fire Punch. You'd actually wouldn't run any Dragon moves, so no Stab. If Dredigan was in Gen 9, it would actually be a really good Terrasilize user. I would say Terra Poison or Terra Steel. Either one of these Terras could allow you to use Gong Shot and scare off because you can use Gong Shot and do more damage. Though I'd recommend Iron Head since with Iron Head you can hit Fluttermane for super effective damage. It also gets Sucker Punch, which is pretty strong for its item. It's a Sheer Force user. So a really weird effect with Sheer Force is that it interacts with an item called Life Orb. Essentially, Life Orb normally takes 1/10 of your max HP every time you use a move, but it gives you actually the same damage boost as Sheer Force. So you're really doing good damage. Um, but the interesting thing with Sheer Force that it takes away the chip damage that Life Orb does to you, but you still get to keep the damage boost. So you stack these two damage boosts onto each other, and you have Gunk Shot hitting like a truck. Fire Punch also hitting really hard. Now, sadly, there's no Dragon type move with a secondary effect that isn't a signature move. So, Dragon Claw is not going to be. I mean, it still hit decently hard, but you're going to take chip damage. Basically, essentially, it's like if Dragon Claw had a recoil. Yeah. It gets some decent moves. Again, it gets Iron Head for probably one-shot Flutter Mane. Shadow Claw, though, again, no. Thunder Punch. Again, it has decent high attack stat as well. Um, you probably did notice its speed is really low, but that makes it a really good Trick Room attacker. It's actually slower than it's actually, yeah, it's slightly slower than both Ursaluna's. So I mean that's not gonna be mean much because you can't really. Its best move to hit Ursaluna is probably what, Superpower. Yeah, that's maybe coming off Life Orb that could do decent damage, but isn't anything like that great. I mean, if you want to use a special attack, it's Focus Blast, but at that point, just run some sort of just run Conkeldurr or Iron Hands. But yeah, it is good to note that it is slower than both Ursaluna's, so you could use it effectively in Trick Room against them. Glare, actually, if they don't protect, you can use Glare into the normal Ursaluna and Para it. I mean, you still activated Guts, but I think you had a Para then Will Wisp it or let it get the burn because Para you still get the downside of it not moving sometimes. Well, burn just chips it. All right, for a final mod, it's gonna be really interesting. Base Rayquaza. A lot of dragon types on this team. I mean, on this in this video, but yeah. Now, you are probably thinking extreme speed. Yes, I am thinking extreme speed, and for Rayquaza specifically, in doubles it still sucks. The problem with Rayquaza is that extreme speed isn't really hitting hard, and I've seen it used the same set as Dragonite. In fact, does it get skill shots? It does. Potential mon here. Anyway, but I've used Terra Normal Extreme Seeing Mega, like not Mega, Normal Rayquaza in singles, and the difference is because it only needs to target one target. It could just sweep entire teams, especially if you use like Swords Dance or even Dragon Dance. It can hit really hard. Another set you can use is Rayquaza against Meteor Beam. So if you want to run a special set with like Meteor Beam, Dragon Pulse, Flamethrower, Hurricane, or something, yeah, you could do that too. I mean, you could run it in Rain, but in that case, Airlock it just screws it over. For item, of course, your beam sets would have Power Herb, but you could run Choice Band to just go all out on damage. If you don't want to go for setup, you can run Choice Band, like Extreme Speed, Dragon Ascent, maybe Dragon Claw. I'd actually say if you're especially if you're in singles, if you're running Choice Band, go Outrage instead. Because normally I have seen people use Choice Band Outrage, and the reason for that is because you're going to be clicking one move anyway with Choice, because a Choice Band. Outrage is a really good combo for Choice Band, because essentially its drawback is already being enforced because of Choice Band. Similar to how Giga Impact with Truant works. So Outrage would actually be probably the better use if in singles. In doubles, I'd recommend Dragon Claw though, because of random targeting. You would just target into a fairy type. You also get Rock Slide for like spread damage if you really wanted. Oh yeah, V-Crate, if depending on what format you're playing, could hit really hard to Choice Band too. It gets U-Turn. I don't know if it has any Gen 9, but yeah, U-turn Iron Head to possibly one-shot Fluttermane in Tailwind. Uh, Aqua Tail, Brick Break to hit Steel types too, but like Loki, you probably just want V-Crate. Either V-Crate or I actually don't know. Wild Charge, yeah, it gets decent coverage. I would just, yeah, there's so many different ways you can use Rayquaza. And an honorable mention goes to, Mega Blastoise. And the reason why it's an honorable mention is actually it's popping off in Champions right now because nobody realized, yeah, Shell Smash. How come I have never seen Shell Smash Mega Blastoise in National Dex doubles, huh? It gets fake out too. I one time used base Blastoise alongside Kyogre to have double water spout. And also to have like fake out water spout pressure, helping hand. Yeah, essentially I just use Shell Smash. Not Shell Smash, helping hand water spout at the time with also water spout on Blastoise. So basically they had a focus sash. One Kyogre would go and use water spell. They would live with the focus sash, and then here comes Blastoise, double trouble. Yeah. Alright, this video has been long enough. So yeah, Parker, explain to me when. I might just look it up. But yeah, Parker, why does Lugia get Psycho Boost? Anyways, bye bye.